Dr. Stephen Akintayo, it's good to see you. Welcome everyone. As you're joining, do me a favor, share this video and get as many people as possible to join us. Today's show might be a bit controversial, depends on your mindset, but I can assure you it comes with a lot of knowledge and value for you. How to build wealth as an African in diaspora. So let me start by knowing how many of you here live outside of Africa. Okay, how many of you here live outside of Africa? The any WhatsApp says one day I will pay back all this free knowledge. You're welcome. Thank you. How many of you here live outside of Africa? You currently live outside of Africa? Let me know. Just say me. Let me know. Because this conversation is for a lot of us who are African, but we don't live in Africa. And we want to look at the subject of wealth creation and how do you build wealth as an African. I need us to know that there are challenges, there are inherent forces, not necessarily invincible, that tend to frustrate our ability to build wealth as people of color. Some of those forces are cultural nuances. Some of those forces are mental blockage, and they've been there. They're just mental stronghold over the years. And until you identify them and fix them, you can realize that it may be extremely difficult for you to live in abundance. And sometimes you are in places where you are supposed to build wealth. It's supposed to be easier, but it's still difficult. I'll give you an example. Those of you who are Africans and live outside of Africa, tell me whether it's true or false. When you left Africa, your mindset was that you were going to a place where it will be easier for you to build wealth for yourself and for the next generation. True or false? Okay, for those of you Africans in diaspora, true or false? When you left Africa, your mindset was that it was going to be easier for you to build wealth outside of Africa for yourself and for the next generation. Okay, true or false? Now, how many of you, I want you to be honest with me, are not impressed with where you are financially today? Okay, just type me. How many of you who are in diaspora are not impressed? Literally, it's not looking like what you really imagine. When you were living in Africa, you thought it was going to be a lot easier outside of Africa building wealth, but it's not really what you thought. Can you be honest with me? How many of you are actually disappointed at the way things are going right now when it comes to your finances, wealth creation? Can you just type me? Come on. It's so bad that even those who claim the reason they left Africa was for their children, I look at a lot of children of immigrants right now in America, in the UK. It's even worse in the UK, right? Many are graduates and yet had to be working McDonald's. True or false? Okay, I have, in fact, one of them, I call her my London PA, right? She is a graduate from the university in the UK, and is having to work in a McDonald's, right? And so my question really is, how good really is it to have all that opportunity, or I went to study abroad, and then what difference is it really making? Even those who are in the creatives, T.Y. Savage did not become great until she returned back to Nigeria, right? Davido grew up in Atlanta, wealthy family couldn't, break through until he returned back to Nigeria. Same thing with Burna Boy, right? So what we are saying is a situation where it's not really working the way a lot of people plan. And I want to open you up to the first set of myths. I will start this conversation with myths about money that a lot of people in diaspora face that is responsible for not being able to build wealth the way they want. Are you ready? If you're ready, type I'm ready, I'm ready. Come on. Remember to invite more people to this conversation. It's going to be a really, really great conversation. There's so much you're going to learn. So invite more people, get everybody in here. Come on, let's go. Number one, myth is the myth of free knowledge. Okay? The number one myth is the myth of free knowledge. A lot of us, because back in Africa, many of us are used to free things, right? Your uncle that is rich occasionally send you money. Your family members. So we're used to things free. So we leave Africa and we're now in Canada or UK or US and we expect free knowledge, right? We expect that common knowledge is gold. Common knowledge, and I see people do that. So you move to this part of the world and then you're asking people in church, you're asking general people, how do I make it here? I don't enter Canada, how I go do it? And you fail to realize that what people don't have, they can't give you. So you are meeting people who have been in the US for 30 years. But yet they are still living paycheck to paycheck. And you decide to leverage or build your entire life in the US based on free knowledge from people who actually couldn't use that same knowledge they have to do something great in the last 30 years. I don't know if you agree with me that doesn't make sense. Come on, talk to me. Okay? So the myth that general knowledge is gold, free knowledge is gold in diaspora is part of the reason why a lot of people are not building wealth. Because the real knowledge that will help you to build wealth in this part of the world is not free. It's not free, guys. It's never free. It's expensive, okay, but it is the secret to becoming financially free. And if you decide to say, no, I don't want to pay, why should I pay to learn? What's the big deal? Kenny, big deal. Kenny, big deal. I met somebody taught me for free. Okay? And then you realize that you continue to struggle and struggle and struggle and struggle. So I want to ask you a question. Okay? Have you ever thought of it that where did the audacity come from? Where officially, right, that I started coming to the US is just 9 years ago. Okay? That I would say I now live in the US is probably going to be this year. And I'm already doing projects. I'm on a project over 400,000 units, $150 million. Another project, over 60 units, $50 million. How come I am new to America in terms of growing our empire? I practically don't live here yet. And yet I'm doing things that people who have been here for 30 years are not doing. Can anybody give me the answer? Why do you think it's so? Right? Why do you think I'm able to do big stuff, running to hundreds of millions of dollars, buying 40-acre property, starting another 19-acre property? This Saturday we're launching a 19-acre estate in Richmond. Why do you think I'm doing those things and people who have been in the US 30 years, 40 years, 20 years are not able to do that. In fact, if you come to the US and talk to people like that, they will tell you, be careful, don't tell anybody you have money. IRS will come after you. They will tell you, you know, you need to be careful, right? Don't show off. This is America. If you show off, they'll come after you. Oh Lord, Lord have mercy. You see why I say it's a myth, And a lot of you got the answer right. The answer is simple. Okay? I didn't fall for the myth, the free knowledge myth. All this unsolicited advice. All this, I have been here for 40 years without achieving nothing. And yet you want to be the one to give me counsel. I didn't fall for those nonsense. A lot of you fell for that. How many of you are a victim of what I'm talking about? That when you relocated out of Africa, the people you met and the free advice they gave you is part of the reason you did not excel the way you should excel. If you're a victim of that, type me. Okay? How many of you are a victim of advice that didn't make sense? It took some of you 5 years to realize that the first advice you got when you relocated was just pure nonsense, right? It wasn't true. Okay, some of the counsel I've connected with people who told me when they relocated to UK. Everybody told them, right? It's either you're a nurse or you never amount to anything. Can you believe that? And the entire degree they had in Africa, abandoned everything, started going back to study nursing. I met somebody who was like a younger brother to me here in the US, Dallas. The same thing. He had to be doing security job to start his life all over again as a nurse because somebody gave him some stupid advice. Meanwhile, skills as simple as photography, right, will earn you way more money than being a nurse. Skill as simple as video editing, right? Skill as simple as video editing will make you more financially free, okay, than a lot of the white collar job that you may want to go for in Western world. One of my friends at university is a photographer today. The kind of money he makes in Canada, okay, a lot of people going to normal white collar job, office job are not making it. But he didn't fall for those myths, those free knowledge. Good knowledge is free. Common knowledge is the best. He didn't fall for that. So the first thing you must be careful about, okay, if you're an African in diaspora, you must avoid, okay, free knowledge, particularly from people who have never achieved anything tangible. You have to look at where you're going and look for people who look like where you're going, okay, and learn from them. And I can assure you it's not going to be free. I met a guy here in America, Nigerian, no college degree, and yes, he did not do medicine like many of you, and he's been here for over 20-something years, right? He did not do what everybody until today does not have a degree, but lives in his own mansion, drives Rolls Royce, big cars. And I remember going to his office, massive office, has hundreds of people working for him in the same US. And the first thing I asked him, how do you protect your money in America? Okay, how do you, I'm starting big projects, I'm going to be investing a lot, we're going to be expanding big time. How do you protect your money? And the guy said to me, simple, it's $50,000. And I'm going to set up a trust for you. As simple as that. His way is very rich. But for him to still help me, I needed to pay. The reason why many of you are not making progress is that if you had met someone like that, you see him as a wicked person. Because you will be like, this guy's made it so much in America. I'm trying to learn from him, and he's asking me to pay $50,000. He must be a wicked person. Why can't he teach me for free? That is the number one reason why many Africans in diaspora are not building wealth. Okay? Because you're expecting free knowledge. You're expecting free seminars. You're expecting things to be free. And I want to tell you how these countries work. You need to go for paid knowledge. Everybody type paid knowledge. Come on, everybody type paid knowledge. For example, many of you Africans in diaspora, your primary responsibility when you come to this part of the world is to use your credits to get a house, a mortgage. Your mortgage is not an asset, it's a liability. The first thing you do is to use your credit to get a car. The car that you drive, okay, and use to take your family around is not an asset, it's a liability. Now, rather than many of you to go for seminars where they're going to tell you, how do you use debt to build wealth in America? How do you use debt to build wealth in the UK? How do you use debt to build wealth in Canada or whatever other country you are in? There's a reason why these countries charge you a lot in taxes. There's a reason why taxes as high, 25%, 30%, 35%, 40%. One of the reasons is because credit is what you are supposed to use to build wealth. Jeez. So, as far as they are concerned, they believe that you're using free money that has been made available by their financial institution to build wealth. That's AKA credit. So it's fair to give back 35% of that money. How many of you think it makes sense? What am I talking about? If I want to do business, let's say real estate business here, as long as it's a cash producing real estate asset, okay, from 5 to 30% is all I need to drop. I will get institutional funders to give me 70% of that money. And what they are just saying is that I have now turned 70% of free money, okay, to, let's say I now make a profit of $10 million from a $1 million I got for free from an institutional investment. Is it not fair for the government to say, give me back 30%? Come on, talk to me. Is it fair? If it's fair, type is fair. If it's not fair, type is not fair. But what do most African diaspora do? The credit system that you're supposed to use for a business and an investment, those are the two areas you should use credit for. Business and investment. Anything that is not a business, don't use your credit for it. Anything that is not an investment, don't use your credit for it, because those are really where you need credit. Okay? Those are really where you need credit. And really, it is credit that you use to build wealth in the Western world. Right? When you want to do real estate, for example, in Africa, you have to bring money 100%. True or false? If it's true, type true. If it's not true, type it's not true. If you want to buy a house, whether it's a house that is an investment or it's not an investment, you have to bring 100% of the money. Same thing when you want to buy a car. You have to bring 100% of the money, isn't it? Okay, but in this part of the world, if you can prove to them that this investment I'm about to do will produce cash flow, will be a source of cash flow, it is a business, then guess what? You can go walk up to any of your banks and they give you money, okay, to support that business. But what do most of us do with those opportunities? You go and say, give me a car loan, give me a house loan, right? Give me a this and give me a that loan. And you fail to realize that your mortgage, you are paying taxes on the mortgage, and that mortgage isn't a cash producing asset. Okay? But of course you can brag to your poor relative back in Africa and say, hey, see me in my big house. See me now. I got to America 6 months. I'm driving a brand new car. 6 months. I have my own house. Instead, what you are supposed to do, okay, is to go get a cash producing real estate asset. That's what you're supposed to use with that credit. Okay? Go and buy 5 unit houses that the tenants will be bringing cash flow for you. Go and buy 10 unit houses that the tenants will be bringing cash flow for you. It is now their cash flow, the money they are paying you for rent, part of your profits from that. You can either rent your own house or buy your own house. At least your tenants are the ones paying for your mortgage. I hope this makes sense. But for you to get into a mortgage that is not producing any cash flow, you're already at a loss. You're already sinking into debt. Because what many of you don't know is that most of this mortgage, the first 5-10 years, you are not even paying for the principal. Okay? The first 5-10 years of many of this mortgage in the UK, in the US, in Canada, you are not even paying for the principal. You are paying bank charges. So when you eventually default 5 years from now, 10 years from now, in many cases, you lose everything. You lose everything. Because they are going to show you that all that you've been paying the last 5 years or 10 years has been the bank charges. Okay? And that, well, you don't have anything, so get out. They're going to sell it to somebody else. Or, sell the house on auction. So it is wisdom for you to know that when you come to this part of the world, invest in the knowledge of paid knowledge about the credit system. Come on, talk to me. Does this make sense? Right? Invest in the what? In the paid knowledge of how to use the credit system. So if you don't invest in the paid knowledge, you'll be using common sense and you'll get common results. You'll be using average knowledge and you'll get average results. And because you haven't gotten to meet people who have been able to leverage on credit to build real wealth, you are just also talking to people who also don't know their right from the left. You know, they said that in a village of blind people, a man with one eye is the king, isn't it? So what I see in this part of the world is that a lot of immigrants from Africa are blind. And then when it looks as if one of them has one eye open, he becomes the leader and then gives unsolicited advice and everybody keeps running after that. But in the reality, that is not really how wealth is created. Come on, does this make sense? Have you learned something powerful today? If you learned something powerful, type I've learned something powerful. Okay, talk to me. So, I want to beg you, and this is, I don't even have a paid seminar I'm trying to ask you to come for. But I want to beg you, start looking for paid trainings in the area of, one, credit. Using credit to build wealth in the Western world. Number one, go for a paid training. Number two, go for paid trainings in the area of your skill. In the area of your skill, go for paid training in those areas. Okay, enough of free. Many of this free knowledge in America, I realize, they will invite you for free seminar, is only to market you for the paid one. So in reality, you still don't know it. If you want to learn something in most of this developed world, you have to pay for it. And because many of us have been used to free stuff from Africa, is the reason why we've not maximized the great opportunities that exist in the Western world. Okay? Number one. Are you ready for number two? Come on, talk to me. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Number two. Number two. If you're ready, type I'm ready. I'm ready. Okay? Are you ready? Mix with people from other race. Mix with people from other race. One of the things I have noticed with the African community is that many, not all, are very negative, low-thinking people. Negative and low-thinking people. And many of us, you know, who are in diaspora, maybe because you've missed home, you only want to mix with the association of Yorubas in Atlanta, association of Igbos in which country, association of Hausas, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. You should mix with your people. But many of these people, not all, are negative thinking and low thinking. So the day you are trying to take risks, they are the first to tell you no. And that's why you need to mix with other cultures who are not as scared as you are, who are not as negative as you are, as a lot of people from your culture are. Now, I will ask you a simple question. Just be honest with me. How many of you tried to start a business in diaspora and you spoke to your fellow African and their first question was not, be careful? Oh yeah, be honest. How many of you? Okay? If that was the answer, just type yes, that's what they told me. Right? You want to start a business, you want to start something new, and then you tell your fellow African, right? The first thing, they don't even have the detail. In fact, many of them, if you tell them, so what do you suggest? I don't know, I don't suggest anything, but hey, be careful. And then they go ranting about how others have lost money. They give you an example of other people who lost money. They tell you how things are never working. They just begin to bring up stories and stories and stories. Come on, talk to me. Now, how many of you have had situations where some who even kept quiet, they didn't discourage you, only came for what you were doing, and then a few weeks later, you see them trying to attempt the same thing you did? Come on, type me. How many of you have had those experiences? Right? The ones, that's why I say low thinking and negative ones. Because some are just negative, they will just tell you don't do it. Some who are not even negative, they are low thinking. They will follow you to, they will not say anything. They will follow you to see how you try to do it. And then a few weeks later, they are doing their own. Some will not even consult you. They just have started, boom, boom. Low thinking. Right? So try to mix. I understand that a lot of Africans in diaspora are victim of racism. Okay? But I have said this over and over again. The only time I've experienced direct racism, it was from black Africans. Right? African Americans. Okay? Or just Africans who just are stereotyping me because I'm a Nigerian and they're already thinking something else. Or African Americans who just, for whatever reason, because of my Nigerian accent, maybe one Nigerian has jilted the lady. I had an experience, I think 7 years ago or so. I went to Silicon Valley and I arrived quite early. I think I got to my hotel 1:30 a.m. And I'm at the highest level of Marriott's. So I'm entitled to what we call 247 check-in. Meaning, even if I come in 1 a.m., I'm supposed to be able to check in. And I got there, and the lady was an African American. And I was to check in, and she said, well, there's no room available. So I said, fine, but let me wait at the reception till she's able to get a room. Do you know what she said to me? She said, you have to leave this property. I said, why? She said, you have to leave because it's not safe with you being in this reception with me. I kid you not. For you to know that this was pure racism, I had to call Marriott customer care, and the customer care guy, service person said, that's not wrong. That's wrong, rather. That's not right. She's supposed to allow you in till they can get to your property. And the person said, you know what, take the phone to her. And this was a freezing cold winter. I was freezing. Say, give her the phone. Only to get back to the hotel, there was even a male African-American security guy at the reception with her. She still refused to allow me stay at the reception. I had to go to a different hotel entirely. Right? In fact, the customer service guy had to lead me to another hotel. Right? Pure racism. But I've only faced racism, I'm saying again, from black people. So if you carry the mentality of, oh, I'm black, I need to be careful around white people, I'm not sure I want to mix with other cultures, you are losing big time. Because some of the people will be so kind to you and really, really help you. Okay? Because you've left Africa, remember that. Right? If you really want to continue with all this African thing, then go back to Africa. You are now in another country. Be willing to mix with people of other religion, other race. Be flexible enough that they don't think like you, they don't talk like you, okay? But I can assure you, they will help you more, okay, than your own Africans or African Americans. Are we learning at all? So number 2, which is very, very important, okay, is that you need, okay, to move away from low-thinking people, negative people. If you're going to build wealth in this part of the world, low-thinking people, negative people, move away. I am that kind of person. In fact, I have had to work with, I've tried to, some of the property stuff I've tried to get. Some of my regrets is trying to get properties and the agent is black. And the agent is Nigerian. I'm telling you the truth. Because he's the one that will constantly be telling me, oh, this is against the law. This is America. We are careful this. And sometimes I'll be like, hey, do you think I'm a baby? What do you guys think? Right? I know the law. So, and I know what is possible. But you have to push your dreams. You can't just be so rigid. You are scared of everything. Everything. I don't want to break the law. This is America. I'm careful. This is Canada. Oh, I want to be careful. And then you can't just even make any tangible decision. You can't take any business risk because you're just scared every day. You need to move away from such people. Okay? You need to move away from such people. You have to move closer to people who are bold, who are courageous, who are ready to take risk. There is no greater, like I said, you decided to leave Africa. You decided. You are here now. Be bold. Can everybody type, I'm going to be bold. I'm going to be bold. How many of you here watching me are entrepreneurs? Those of you in diaspora. I want to talk to those of you in diaspora. If you're in diaspora and you're an entrepreneur, just type, I'm an entrepreneur. Okay? If you're an entrepreneur, just type, I'm an entrepreneur. Now, if you're a professional, type, I'm a professional. I'm focused on those of you in diaspora. This training today is mainly for those of you in diaspora, right? So if you're in diaspora, if you're an entrepreneur, type, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm not talking about you have a job and then you're also doing business. No. I'm talking about the only thing you do is business. Then type entrepreneur. If you are trying to mix the two, just type I'm a professional. Someone said I'm a professional student. One day I will hit on your own topic. All of you are coming to do students when you should just do a 3-month certification program, and you are on your way to making good money for yourself. One day I will attend to you guys. But if you can see from this conversation, majority of people even on those core are professionals, right? And that tells you that something is wrong here. Because how many of you agree with me that the easiest place to do business is outside of Africa? If you agree, type I agree. In terms of opportunity for financing, in terms of laid down regulations, in terms of predictability, in terms of the fact that the system don't change overnight. Like Africa, the government can just make a new regulation all of a sudden that can mess up your business. The government can wake up tomorrow and make an announcement and your entire business line is gone. Right? Entire business line is gone. You don't have that in this part of the world. If you can obey the first law I mentioned, go for paid training. Right? The reason why many of us struggle to do entrepreneurship outside of Africa is because we are not willing to pay. You want to start a restaurant business and you just think you can use your African sense to start a restaurant business in Germany. You want to start a tech company and you just think you can use your African sense to start tech company in Switzerland without going for proper training that helps you to understand the Switzerland law, how Switzerland works, and including how to fund such type of business in Switzerland. Okay? So the reason why a lot of us aren't doing business entrepreneurship is because many of us aren't willing to go for informal paid trainings about how exactly do you do business in those parts of the world. True or false? If you agree with me, type I agree. If you don't agree, type I don't agree. So as you can see, even from this live core, majority of you here, okay, are professionals. You haven't taken the risk to go start a business or to invest. And the reality is this: some of these countries, the people who run them are capitalists, and they've structured this country such that you can never be rich until you become a capitalist. And I'm being honest with you. Even those countries who play like they are socialist, in reality, okay, the real people running the system behind the scene are capitalists, and they've created some monopoly around those businesses. They may not use their face and all of that, but that's what's going on. So if you're in a country where the major way to make money is to become a capitalist, and you decide not to be a capitalist, you can see that you're losing big time, isn't it? Right? You're losing big time. So some of these countries require that you take risk. Go start a business. Right? If you fail, you failed. You dust yourself up and you start all over again. Declare bankruptcy. Now, let me ask you a question. How many of you know that America is the easiest country to declare bankruptcy? True or false? Okay? I'm just using America because I'm here in the US. True or false? America is the only country you can start a business, create a mess. In other words, you failed in the business, you have so much debt in the business, and you can go to a court and say, hello, your judge, well, I have failed in this business, I'm no longer interested again. And you declare bankruptcy. The taxes you owe, forgiven. Clients you owe, gone. Right? Vendors you owe, gone. Everybody, nobody can come after you again. Now, where else can you do that? Even in Nigeria, you can't do that. Okay? You can't do that in Nigeria. You can't do that in many African countries where most of you came from. Right? You're going to be in jail for a long time. And I'm talking about people have declared bankruptcy over a business that is owing $10 million, $20 million. Donald Trump had declared bankruptcy over some of his business that even owing hundreds of millions of dollars. And it was all gone. And he started all over again. And it was all cool. You can't do that in many African countries, guys. So these systems, okay, favor you being able to take risk and become an entrepreneur. So 2 ways to really become wealthy in diaspora. Number 1, be an entrepreneur. So that becomes number 3 points in today's training. Be an entrepreneur. I'm not asking you to quit your job, but you can start gradually. But remember number 1 law that I taught you today. Before you start any business, go for a paid training. Stop all this free nonsense, free knowledge, free advice. Go for a paid training about the business you want to start. It's only in Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, different African countries, you can watch your neighbor succeed in a business and go and start the same business without even getting coaching from your neighbor. True or false? Come on, talk to me. True or false? How do most of us start business back in Africa? Is it not by copying another friend that is doing well, and then you go and start the same business? You did not even get free advice, even to go and meet that friend and say, my best friend, I want to start your kind of business, come and coach me. No. Once you see that, your friend that used to borrow from you suddenly bought a car, bought a house, employ people, be like, Omo, there is real money. Right? There's real money in Richard Card business. Let's go, let's go. The same thing is happening in my industry, real estate. Everybody is doing real estate in Nigeria now. Everybody. Right? Now, for them to go for training, there's nothing wrong in them doing real estate. But at least come and meet someone like me that's risen from zero to the top and say, so teach me how you did it. Right? A lot of Africans will not go for training. They just start the business based on observing somebody else. Now, the same attitude we bring to diaspora, the same attitude you bring to Canada, you bring to Germany, you bring to US, you bring to UK, where you just want to start a business just because somebody else is doing it. Training, no. And then you say it's difficult to start a business. So I hope you've learned. That's number 3. Number 4, be an investor. If you really want to be financially free and build wealth in diaspora, you must set aside a portion of what you are earning right now and put it into something. Example, fractional shares. Right? 3 months ago, Tesla was really down. Okay? It's gained almost 10% again. So it simply means that if you had bought Tesla shares 3 months ago, okay, you already have 10% profits in just another 3 months. And there's likelihood that it's going to get better. So you can buy a fractional share. So what do I mean? Let's assume Tesla share, I'm just giving an example, is going for $400. But all you can afford to keep aside, right, every month is $200. You can buy a fraction of 1 Tesla shares. So every month you are able to buy a fraction. You're able to buy a fraction. That is how wealth is built here. Right? So put a portion of your money into an investment. That's the way money works for you. Instead of working for money, put a portion into different types of investment. Again, oh, Dr. Stephen, which investment should I do? Go for the training. Okay? There are several trainings that exist in whatever city you live in on different investment opportunities that you can do. Go for training. Don't just jump into anything. I run several trainings. I have several videos on YouTube. You can go watch on different investment opportunities. You can send me a DM. My office can give you our coaching programs on different investment opportunities that we have. And you can be part of that as well. But it's important to know if you are really serious about building wealth in this part of the world, okay, a portion of your money has to go into investment. That's how it's done. Hey, Tabi, how are you? Can I pull you up, Tabi? Okay? If you want me to pull you up, I'll pull you up. I'm not walking to your house. Right? If you want me to pull you up, please let me know so I'll pull you up. Tabi is one of my amazing gist partners. So, you want to make sure, if you are really serious about building wealth in diaspora, start a business. But get training before you start. Okay? Invest a portion of your money. Okay? Invest a portion of your money. Every month, there are different types of investment. You can just be putting $200 this month, $500 the next month, $300 the next month. I promise you, 10 years down the line, okay, you will have built an amazing passive income, amazing portfolio of passive income. You will be surprised with yourself about what you have built. Okay, you'll be shocked. Everybody that I've met in diaspora that is financially free are entrepreneurs. One of my friends, he's hosting me in Glasgow. I'll be in Glasgow in June, right? And he moved from, he used to be in Dubai, but he's an entrepreneur. Then moved to London. Then moved to Glasgow. You see, big boy things, eh? Now, he bought his house in Glasgow. The house has his own lake. He can drive his own boat. Massive house. I think it was £2 million that he bought the house. He just sent me a picture recently. Bought the brand new Rolls Royce. Okay, brand new Rolls Royce. Brand new. And I can give you an example of several friends like that I know. Okay, all of them who really are doing well, they're entrepreneurs and they are investors. Those who are not entrepreneurs are big-time investors. They are buying shares, they are buying real estate, they are just buying vehicles, tools that is constantly generating passive income for them. But that's really how wealth is created. So, how many of you have been encouraged today? If you have been encouraged to build wealth in diaspora, type I'm encouraged, I'm encouraged. This is part 1. We'll get more deeper in part 2, and I probably will go hard on you guys. Okay? I don't know why I'm nice today. I intended to be very hard and tough, and break things down. Because some of us in diaspora, if you don't hit our head well, we're not going to be encouraged to really take some tough decisions, right? But I think I've been nice. I may not be this nice tomorrow. This is part 1, but the goal is to encourage you to either start a business, of course, with proper training, with proper education, or to start investments. Okay? You cannot continue a job for 30 years. Nobody becomes rich, okay, by working for 30 years. It doesn't just work that way. Yes, a penny saved here, a penny invested there equals wealth. Temi Ajibewa. Very true. A penny saved here, a penny invested here equals wealth, right? So you have to understand little by little. Many of you have been in diaspora for 10 years now. Some of you 15 years. You even go to church and do anniversary. But in reality, you cannot boast of $1 million. That's a shame. That's a shame. Right? That's a shame. Okay? If you're here and you can't boast of $1 million 10 years being in diaspora is a shame. 20 years, 21 years, I am the one saying it is a shame. Okay, it's a shame. My first year in Dubai, we did almost $20 million. First year. So I'm not talking about what I've not done. Okay, I'm not talking about what I've not done. Okay, this is my first year, fully, operating real estate projects that is 100% owned by our company, right? 100% owned by our company, and I know what we're already attempting. Okay, so it's a shame if you're here 10 years, 20 years, and you can't boast of, being able to control $1 million. It's a shame. Something is wrong. And somebody said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. It's the definition of insanity. Many of you went through hell to leave Africa. You went through hell to leave Africa. You sold what you had. You left all those you know.